Hello, Mr. David. My name is Jack from Coin98. It was great to meet you today in Solana Hacker House in Ho Chi Minh City. I have some question to interview. Hope that we can share some great insight from you and also from OP Crypto side. Okay, can we start the interview now?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The first question is, what have inspired you as a former Tier 1 exchange executive to form crypto venture capital with native both in Western and Asia market?
Yeah, so I've been at Huobi for about 4 years since starting my venture fund. I think during those 4 years, I've learned everything that I could. I built all the necessary connections. But when I moved from Asia to the US, I saw there was a big void in that no one in the Western and US markets really understood what's happening in Asia. And no institutional investor really had the resources and insights to educate a lot of the Western founders to be able to have access to the resources and go to market in the Asia market. So I think by starting a venture fund, I'm able to support many more entrepreneurs beyond just the exchange listing and working with Huobi, but by being their early mentors, giving them early seed capital, but at the same time, giving them a lot of resources that I have in Asia and filling that void that existed in the Western market by stepping in and being sort of the face to connect the two sides of the market between the West and the East. And at the same time, there's a lot of Asian founders looking for access to Western capital. So at that time, there was all American funds, a lot of American faces. And I think as an Asian-based general partner investor, I'm able to also help our Asian projects and founders really have access to institutional investor base in the US.
As I understand, right now OP Crypto is working with Asia and also with the Western market. So when you're working with two sides of two regions, what is the main difference and how can you create a team with great people that work in the both side?
I'm a little bit over 30 now, but my experiences speak for themselves in that I've spent equally amount of time in Asia, around 15, 16 years in Asia, and also 16 years in the US. So I think being able to have sort of that bicultural experience of having started a company in China, but also being educated in the US and having investors from both sides of the market that have invested into the fund, but also having invested in a global scale of products myself, and also hiring from a team like Lucas, my CEO and partner, he spent 10 plus years in Singapore, 10 plus years in China, and also 10 plus years in the US. And also Calvin, also same thing. So spending half his time in China, half his time in the US. I think for us is really creating a core team of people that have sort of this bicultural experience and being sort of third cultured founders and investors that's really able to connect with a lot of the prominent founder base at today. But I think it just being understanding of what the founders need, and we're able to provide those type of resources, right, on both sides of the market.
As I know, you have mentioned that the vast majority of OP crypto asset has always remained completely safe. So how can you overcome the collapse of FTX or Silvergate, and what is OP Crypto is doing to demonstrate the efficiency of your practice in crypto?
Yeah, so for us, because we're an early venture capital fund, we are also very crypto native in doing so, right? I think a lot of the other big institutions, they trust the banks, they use the big exchanges, they use a lot of centralized custodians because that's what they've grown accustomed to. But I think for myself, being very crypto native, we like for everything to be on chain, right? So for every asset that we park, because it's our investor money, we cannot take any centralized risks, right? So all the money that investors have invested in us, we place on chain, right? With Anchorage, with a lot of sort of our treasury sort of management solutions, we always use the best in class service providers in terms of, fund audit, in terms of legal counsel, in terms of custodian. And also we try to do all of our activities on chain so that it's publicly visible and transparent so that everything can be traced back. So we do use traditional banking, but all of our banking is within the FDIC insured amount, right? So we don't keep a lot of money within one bank, right? We keep within the FDIC insured amount so that if something goes wrong with the bank, like Silvergate, like it's insured by the government, right? So for us, it's all about diversification plus on-chain custodian and activity, so that ensure the best practice, so that we ensure our funds are safe, but also our investors know exactly what we're doing with the funds, and they can trace and go back to see that everything is audited correctly, and we're able to, give them reports that are able to trace back to all of our activities on chain.
I think transparency is what I love the most with on-chain activity. Right now, OP Crypto is investing a lot in the startup in the crypto space. In your view, what is the biggest mistake that the startup make that could lead them to collapse, or they cannot continue in the crypto market?
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially in a bull market, I think a lot of people overestimate how much runway they have, right? I always, for every project that we invest in OP Crypto, is that we make sure that the projects have enough runway to really survive and really build out their product for the world to see it before they ultimately run out of money. I think too many projects, the reason why they ultimately go under or they fail is that they overestimate the ability to raise future rounds, because it was so easy to raise at a time when they were first founded in the bull market 2021 and 2022. So I think now that the market has come down significantly, a lot of people are having trouble raising, right? I wouldn't say that's the case for most of our portfolio, because we make sure that they're well subsidized. We make sure that they have enough runway, and they're being very stringent with how they spend their money. But I think vast majority of projects just don't have sort of that treasury management skill set, that diversification into some of like what is needed versus stable. So I think that aspect of things needs to be very properly managed, but also they need to save enough resources and capital to make sure that if a product that launched to the market doesn't have the necessary fit, they're able to pivot and iterate quickly.
Oh, so as a venture fund like OP Crypto, so how can OP Crypto bring the value for the startup that you have invested amongst all of the capital or something?
So I think for us, it's really about helping founders capture the global international market, right? I think as a Western founder, they mostly are only well connected within sort of their own Western world, right? But I think crypto as an industry is very much an international phenomenon, right? Where anyone from anywhere can use your product, right? So it's very important for them to then think about how to capture the Asia or the Eastern market, right? For Eastern founders, right, they need to be able to have access to US and also a lot of institutional support, right? So trying to be the bridge between these two markets is extremely valuable for founders, because we provide dual-sided access to large user bases in Asia, right? Institutional capital in the US, as well as like myself being from a major tier 1 exchange, right? Helping them exchange listings that further enables these projects to have global visibility and user base for them to capitalize on.
So at that time, some startup, they don't have their products yet. So how can you evaluate them, or have some criteria to evaluate them? You will evaluate by people, by ideas, or something. Can you tell me more about that?
Right, I think anything is like, you have to have founder market fit, right? So like a lot of people talk about product market fit, but the founder itself has to be able to deliver the product he's building, right? I think a lot of that can be seen from his past experiences, and like the product itself, even though a lot of times it's not 100% ready, but you can very easily see from the founder's mock-ups what he intends to build, and like his thoughts about building out the product when it's being launched to the market. So a lot of this is like, they don't come with just a blank idea, right? They come with somewhat of a competitive and revolutionary idea that a lot of times the finished product is like many iterations that will work with them to really finalize, right? So I think a lot of times it's very exciting to participate in the early stages, because you can be right there with the founder to really craft the best product possible to be able to capture the current market as it is, right?
But right now there's a lot of startup in the market, and they also have their products. But one of the hardest things that I think they facing the challenge is that they can't attract the people in the Web3 market, and also from the Web2 market into Web3 market to join their products. So do you have any advice for those startups that how can they attract the people?
Right. I think anytime anyone builds a product, right, you need to address a need, right? Just like when I created OP Crypto as a product, right? It's at the end of the day, it's a financial instrument to allow outside investors to invest into, that fills a void in the demand that a lot of founders need Asia access. So, myself being based in US, we're able to capture a lot of that demand and provide sort of that institutional gateway to a lot of what Asia markets have, right? Anyone can invest in a lot of different projects, but you have to address a particular need that founders need help with, right? So I think that's for a venture market side, but same thing with founders looking to create a product for Web3 users, right? Why do no Web3 user use your product? Maybe because they don't need your product, right? I think at the end of the day, you have to have proper amount of demand. But I think what we really help with is that, a lot of products are not able to reach the right audiences because of distribution issues, right? And this is something that we help address because, I was sort of helping Huobi reach a global audience. Back then, it was still very China focused, addresses demand and need.
Let us know what is your view about the crypto market in Asia, and what is the largest difference? What is the unique of a crypto Asia market comparing to the Western?
Yeah, I think Asia market is where all the biggest retail users are, right? So I think when we think about what are Asian founders good at making, right, is a lot of these application layer products sort of addressing different issues with commerce, with digital collectibles, with social applications, with gaming, a lot of these different things where it's a very C2C type of marketplace. And I think that's what people are then looking to build, but making sure that the user experience is up there, that we're able to capture the big addressable market here in Asia. I think for US is very much, or the Western market is very much about infrastructure protocol layer, right? A lot of the technical substack for these applications to be built on. And some of the best engineers come from there. And I think we're a little bit past sort of the infrastructure stage, and it's really now time to really people to build a lot of the application layer products for people to use.
That is the new. I think that is all of our question that I have interviewed you. Thank you a lot for your insightful answer.